understanding personality profiles is key,
Yeah.
you know, because there are some people that want a really long description. I've got customers that want a one word answer. Yes or no.
Just tell me yes or no.
Yes or no.
Yeah.
You know, developing that sixth sense of saying, Who am I working with here?" And learning how to mirror that back to them,
Yeah.
I think is key.
This is Spilling the Real Tea, a podcast by Sold in a Snap.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Spilling the Real Tea, a podcast by Sold in a Snap. I am your host, Eric Johnson, and today I'm super excited to have our guest, Ashton Gustafson. He is the broker, agent, owner of AG Real Estate.
Hello to everything. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Good. Today, we're going to be talking about all things luxury. Luxury is a mindset, not a price point. And so I'm excited to dive in that with you. But before we do, I want to thank our sponsors for today's episode, which is Sold in a Snap. Sold in a Snap is Central Texas's premier real estate photography and marketing company, helping agents look incredible, stand out from the competition, and grow their business. We provide photos, tours, video, and marketing, everything that you need to market yourself and your listings with ease. We're leading the world in real estate tech, backed by all 5-star reviews, and we're different on purpose because your success is our mission. Want to save time while your clients and dominate your market? Visit soldinasnap.com and see how Sold in a Snap can elevate your business or your listing today. Ashton,
Sir.
tell me about yourself before we get into luxury and all that. Where are you from? Like what brought you here and what brought you to real estate?
Yeah, well, it was May of 2005, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I was graduating from Baylor,
Yeah.
and I had a marketing degree. And next thing I know, my grandfather, who was in the real estate business in Wichita Falls, was like, "Well, hey, while you take some time to kind of figure this out, why don't you come by the office? We'll pay you a couple bucks an hour. You can run around town,
Yeah.
run some errands for us." And I did that. Next thing I know, in just a couple months, I had a license.
Yeah.
And then 20 years later, here we are. So my great grandfather was president of the Board of Realtors in Wichita Falls in the 60s.
Oh my gosh. And you're originally from Wichita Falls.
Yeah, right. So great grandfather, my grandparents were in the business. My mom was in the business for a bit, and she said, "Y'all are crazy. I'm out of here." And then I joined them. So fourth generation, like to say it's in my blood is
Way in others.
yeah, for sure an understatement. And I absolutely love it. I mean, it's all that I know. I'm the owner of our company here. I work with an amazing group of agents, and I really do love what I do. And I joke and I say I work 8 days a week, but it's what I do. It's all I know. That's what it takes in this business. And so here we are.
Well, I mean, you love it, right? So when you love it, it's not work. Isn't that what they say? So taking you back a little bit, you said your grandfather was the one that introduced you. Now, was that in Wichita?
Yeah, in Wichita Falls. Yeah, so both my grandparents worked together, and I kind of joined their team in a way.
Yeah.
A few years in, became a partner with them, and then it was around about year 4 or 5 or 6, maybe. I was spending a lot of time back in Waco.
Yeah.
It was the Art Browse RG3 football.
Oh yeah.
My in-laws were here or are here. And I couldn't just come here and be still for the weekend or while there was a football game going. I needed to do something. So I was like, I'm just going to open an office. We're going to be here all the time. Let's open an office.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, had some people join us. And I was kind of back and forth for a while. But about 8 years ago, we made the decision to make Waco home base. My two girls were still young enough where we could make that move. And we did that. And it's been an awesome ride and a great move. So we love Central Texas. We love Waco. And it's fun to grow a business and lead, a group of people that has entrusted their business with us and grow what we do.
Incredible. Now, do you guys still have a kind of not necessarily it's an offshoot, but still family back in Wichita?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it still have a business presence there. And there's a great group of owners and partners there that do an amazing job. And so, but my boots on the ground is here in Waco, and this is what I do.
So you've done this for a minute. You said 2005, and we're now 21 years almost removed from that. Um, Today we're talking about luxury. Today we're talking about how we can kind of take it to the next level. Let's dive into that a bit. Now we said it's not it's a mindset, not necessarily a price point. So what is that? Like help me understand what makes something a luxury listing or a luxury approach versus something that isn't necessarily that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think one thing that people maybe get wrong out of the gate on this conversation is that luxury is strictly about price.
Sure.
Like, it's actually not. Yes, you may consider different price points more luxurious than others, but at the end of the day, like our business is helping anyone and everyone.
Yeah.
I was showing rentals to college kids on Saturday.
Yeah.
And 20 years later, it's what I'm doing. So like when the phone rings, it's what we do. When you really though talk about luxury, I mean, I think what you have to do is learn how to think the way the customer thinks.
Okay.
What do they value? What are the and most of the time this is things that it doesn't fit into an Excel spreadsheet.
Sure.
This isn't a price per foot conversation. There is proximity to different things. There is the community that people live within. There is, certain finish outs really have a great return on value.
Yeah.
Some finish outs don't necessarily have a return on value, but they sure do make you more sellable in the end.
Sure.
And so, it's I almost think it's dangerous to define luxury, right? Like because at the end of the day, what I can tell you is when you're helping people in the quote unquote upper end price point, at the end of the day, we just want to help them make the best decision that they
Sure.
can. And so I think that whether it's on the buy side or the sell side, it's very rare that you're just selling four walls and a garage and a front door and a back door and maybe a pool.
Yeah.
Like there is way more going on there and really figuring out how do you present that to the marketplace? How do you convey that to the other folks that may be looking for something like that?
Yeah.
What is the story that home is going to tell? And so that's what we want to do. We want to tell the story as best as we can so that the person that may say, hey, this is what I'm looking for, they could align with that story.
So this is more about people than it is property almost.
Yeah,
Like so walk me through this. Okay. I'm a young college kid, Baylor, I'm excited, freshman coming in and I'm going to have my own first apartment. How do you approach me in this space where I'm a little anxious, but I do want to feel like, I'm doing something important?
Yeah, I mean, well, the Baylor thing's a little bit clunky because now almost everyone has to have a parent co-sign for them.
Sure.
So you kind of have this dance between parents and their kids. Where's the kids want to live? Do the parents think it's safe? Are they cool with them being there? But then, hey, by the way, the parents end up signing and guaranteeing these leases.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. Yeah. Well,
My kid.
yeah, it's a little bit different, but I mean, at the end of the day, college students, not to be stereotypical, there may be a little bit of a difference in what the average group of dudes look for versus the gals. I mean, there is some difference there, but I think at the end of the day, our job is to help guide them in the direction of where they will be.
So now you have, okay, so college students a little bit different, it's probably a temporary thing, maybe a lease or something like that. Now let's fast forward to just finished my marketing degree at Baylor. And I'm looking for my first house. I just got married. It's a young couple. How do you approach this like young couple that is, not making a ton of money, but want that first house?
I mean, the young, the first time home buyers, the newlyweds, that group, I love working with because it's so exciting. Like everything, this is new. We've never done this before. This isn't the eighth home that they bought.
Yeah.
So it's super fun to get to work with those folks.
Do they feel like it's all luxury to them? Like,
Oh yeah,
oh my gosh, look, and it has a door.
and it is.
This
I mean,
is a
like,
door to the bathroom.
yeah, like
Amazing.
it is luxury to them, like as it should be. Like there's this massive step of like independence, financial stability, all these different things that like kind of a threshold that you walk through when you purchase a home for the first time. So I love working with those guys. My thesis always, and now I'm 20 years in the business, so I'm kind of the dad.
Yeah.
I'm not the kid anymore. I'm kind of the dad, and I'm like, hey, you got to really figure out some ways to do this thing with three boxes that we don't say they maybe they need to be checked. They all need to be checked.
Yeah.
First one is peace of mind.
Yeah.
It's very simple. Do you have peace of mind about doing it?
It's a feel. Yeah.
There's a feel, and you can go very woo woo into that, or you can just go, yeah, I've got peace of mind about it. But like, that's a serious thing, because the last thing I want is somebody buying a home and being like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Financial peace.
Yeah.
There's zero reason to make a decision where you're uncomfortable financially, you're up at night, you're wondering how you're going to make the next mortgage payment. I'm conservative to a fault.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, you need to have not one, but 6, but 12 mortgage payments in the bank. That's kind of how I think about things. And then excitement.
Yep.
Like, are you excited about this? Or are you kind of rolling your eyes of, well, yeah, this is okay, and I can live with it, I guess. Like, so 2/3 of that is peace. The other third of that is excitement.
Yeah.
And I've found in my own life that with decision making, if you can have peace and excitement, that's kind of a formula for a great life.
Yeah.
So it works in buying a home as well. And so those are really the core. Like, I don't care where you live. I'm going to give you some thoughts on that. And hey, you may want to think about this in resale.
Sure.
These are some things that I would think about if I was your dad, because first-time home buyers, every single time they get in contract, and then guess who shows up?
Yeah.
The in-laws.
Yeah.
The in-laws every time. And they're looking at the home with x-ray vision, as they should, and making sure their kids don't make the wrong, first decision. So I'm always in that camp of, really defending and being in that place.
My mother passed away in 2017, and she was in real estate, and when we bought a house in McGregor, and my dad said, your mother would when she passed away, your mother would never have let you buy this house. She would never, like, because like it's a thing, like, your parents do have that thing. So you have and I would assume that for you, those first time home buyers are like, all bright eyed and excited, and you have to, like, now I just want to, you need to understand this looks shiny, but this, could possibly be a problem, which is kind of what you mentioned.
Well, and you get two personality profiles, right? Like, you've got the do-it-yourselfers,
Yeah.
who just kind of live in asymmetry.
Yeah.
They're okay with a broken window here and there. They don't need a brand new air conditioner. Like, hey, does it work? Great. Then you got another personality profile that they can't understand a word that's not, or a world that's not symmetrical, right? So like, the roof, is it new? The AC, is it new? Has this been done? Has this been done? And in the first time home buyer world, that can be challenging.
Sure.
Those types of people, I typically say, hey, we may want to focus on new construction.
Do you have to, like, pull them back and have, like, we need to have a conversation just about expectations?
Yeah, we begin everything with expectations.
Yeah.
Like, perfect doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And we're gonna help you navigate. I mean, I'm a guy that loves to go look at a lot of homes with people, so it's not unusual for me to take a couple out and look at 15 homes in a day.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of love that, and the reason I love it is, we very quickly are going to go, now we've got this big data set. They haven't just looked at homes online. They've actually been out in, I was in Mountain View. I was in Park Meadows. I was in Twin Rivers. I was in Creekside. And all of a sudden, they start synthesizing the things they like.
Gotcha.
And they go, like, the one-off showings, those typically happen after someone's been in the market a while.
Yeah.
And they're kind of focused on, like, their weight.
Yeah.
But if you've never been out there, like, we need to go. We need to go, and we need to look at all of it. You may walk in and immediately turn around and say, no way, I could never do this. But that's going to help clarify the direction that you want to go. So I'm very keen on helping people start wide and then move narrow. If they're just narrow and like, well, I gotta have, the backyard can't face west, the countertops need to be new, Taj Mahal granite. I gotta have an isolated primary bedroom. I gotta have a 2-car garage. All of a sudden, you start doing this in certain price points, you can kind of go, man, that's gonna be tough to find. Let's just go out and look at a lot of things in your price point, and then you're gonna be able to recalibrate and say, where do we go from there?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. I would assume that, they go to that first house, gather a lot of data in their brains, and then by the time you're on house 15, they're like, okay, what I thought was important on house 1
Yeah.
is no longer important. Like now I know, like, I want this, 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 and this, or, there's some non-negotiables on certain things.
Yeah, totally. And I really think that quickly moves people into two worlds of newer versus older. I mean,
That's right.
in the Waco market, I think it's pretty rare that I have someone that's in both worlds.
Yeah.
And now, newer to me is anything built after 2005.
Sure.
Like, I consider that newer, but you've got so many homes that were built in the 50s, 60s.
Stuff in 1940s out.
Yeah, in the 40s, which I'm sure the trees
would let me buy.
I bet the trees are pretty awesome. Right. So, like, you're going to get that. Now, if you go newer, okay, we may have to be in some of these areas that were started 20 years ago so you can see where those trees are. If trees are like the thing.
Yeah.
For some people, they are the thing. It's kind of like a pool. Buy a pool, get a house. Like, I've had some people just got to have a pool.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, everyone's got their focus, and we help him there.
Okay, so now we have our kind of, college kids. We have our first-time home buyers. Now you got somebody that's been experienced. They bought several houses. They're, looking at, house number 4 or 5, kind of know what they want. Tell me how you make that experience a little bit more tailored to them.
Yeah. Well, on the buy side, I mean, there's two different worlds on the buy side and the sell side.
Sure.
On the buy side, if someone's new in our market, and I get the sense that the upper end price point is probably where they're going to end up being. What I want to do is show them the world that I think that they are accustomed to.
Yeah.
That's a lot of different things, right? And so that can be, if they've got kids, that's a school conversation.
Yeah.
Right? So are we public or are we private?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's one of two things. You're private. Okay, well, then let's drill down into the private thing. What's that look like?
Yeah.
Do I need to be setting up tours at these schools for them? Do I need to be making intros to board members on there? Same with, you could talk about, maybe it's someone that works in a certain school, or they're at Baylor, or they're at Baylor Scott and White, or they're, SpaceX or whatever. You can kind of start to say, okay, hey, here's some other things that I found of people that have kind of made in the same area that you have. And then the community tour is super important, because what you can do is, when you're on the top of your game and your market forwards and backwards, you can drive into these neighborhoods and say, hey, here is what we have seen.
Yeah.
Right? Because to me, education is one of their highest values.
Yeah.
They want to make informed decisions. And so I am going to, I call it obnoxiously but tastefully abuse them with data.
Good.
With like, hey, here's what I found in this neighborhood. This has been the last 10-year journey of what's gone on here. This is what we're seeing in the new construction market. These are the, here's the trends from color to value to palettes to you name it, like landscaping to all of that. Education is the highest value. And so what I want to do is add value so that when they're going to make that decision. I've been a part of probably, I need to count, but probably somewhere in the realm of 1,800 to 2,000 home sales myself.
Wow.
I have never sold
I love that I need to count, and you just went so specific, like 1,822.
So, I mean, so somewhere, but like, those are personal transactions that, like, I've opened the door and from start to finish been a part of it. And I think that, what I want to do, or what I've found is, like, I've never sold a home.
Yeah.
Right. people make that decision.
Yeah.
I want to be the most anti-salesy person in the world.
Right.
Let's go look. If it takes 10 years,
Yeah.
let's take 10 years.
Yeah.
Like I'm not here, I'm not here to demand that sale happens today. And so I think a tasteful approach, an approach with education, a relaxed approach. I've been here before.
Yeah.
Like when the doctor comes in and shows you the x-ray, you don't want him to go, oh gosh, well,
This is the first.
yeah, I've never seen it. You just, it's confidence. It's simple, calm, quiet confidence.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you got to do your homework, right? Like that's learning the market day in, day out. I could tell you everything that happened in almost every price point every single day at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I could tell you, here's what we're seeing there. New ones came on the market there. These went pending over the weekend. Like knowing that data is super, super important.
Cool. Well, this is great. So how would you say that, you as the agent would make the whole process feel luxurious or like a luxury, like you are kind of sitting there making something different than a different agent? Maybe.
Yeah. So I don't know who said this, but it was probably Steve Jobs or Albert Einstein or one of those dudes. And it was basically like simplicity is the ultimate sophistication.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing that I would say is like, you don't need to be wordy.
Sure.
You don't have to be verbose when you're helping someone in this range. They actually, they want answers. They want them quickly. They want them to be thoughtfully, curated, and then they make those decisions. So it's kind of a hard question to ask because how do you make a luxurious transaction luxurious? So it's like, well, I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, I buy them a gift card from Tiffany's, and like that's not it, right? Like what I think more than anything that you can do is you just turn pro.
Yeah.
In every single way that you handle the transaction, you turn pro. And it's almost a sixth sense that I've developed over the years of how do you do that in real time. But I think that, if I had to, put my thumb on what does it mean to make a transaction, luxurious or something like that, I would say everything that's going off in your mind right now probably isn't it.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's actually becoming more human.
Yeah.
I think it's actually providing better data. I think it's actually looking people in the eye and not seeing them as a transaction, but actually being like, I'm going to be here as long as this takes, and I'm going to be in your corner, and we're going to see where this thing goes.
Yeah. And I will say kind of on that, I mean, you have to be a chameleon, to each of those clients, because there's a point where you are you as an agent, but they are all so different.
Yeah.
And so sometimes they need a little bit more, maybe some of them like, I've already kind of done my research. I've looked at the schools. I've done all these things. And sometimes you're like, hey, let me kind of open some doors for you that maybe you didn't think that you needed to open. For sure. And I think, and I don't know, because from what I'm hearing, you kind of have to explore that a bit, and where are you at in life, and how do you kind of progress into that space that I can.
Yeah, I mean, understanding personality profiles is key.
Yeah,
because there are some people that want a really long description. I've got customers that want a one word answer, yes or no.
Just tell me yes or no.
Yes or no.
Yeah.
And so, but developing that sixth sense of saying, who am I working with here, and learning how to mirror that back to them.
Yeah.
I think is key.
And, like, so you've been doing this 20 years, you're successful, you're a broker, you have your own business now. How does communication play into that? I mean, from so many different industries, being responsive, quick and everything, would you say that is such a must, especially if you are trying to provide an experience that is, great?
Yeah. I mean, one of my core values is rapid response.
Yeah.
I think good news does not need to be delayed. and bad news doesn't get better with time.
I love that.
So, like, and the job of an agent is delivering challenging news a lot.
Yeah.
Right. The appraisal, we didn't appraise. The inspection was a little touch and go. Like all of those things. What I'm helping people do is again bringing the data to them as fast as I can, helping them make decisions of where do we go from here. And I think the phrase that I use with our firm all the time is our job isn't sales. Our job is to like be a redeeming presence.
Yep.
Right. So the buyer wants to buy and the seller wants to sell. And the best thing an agent can do sometimes is get out of the way.
Yeah.
Get out of the way. Let's help this transaction happen. Okay, so we've got a really bad inspection report. Well, let's look at it. Let's see. And Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if you were a buyer and you knew these things, where would you be? What would your thoughts be? Helping them kind of navigate that. Sometimes some things are they look like a bigger deal than they are.
Yeah.
And we go get answers. Well, the HVAC said that we've got a potential carbon monoxide leak. Okay, let's go find out if we got one. I'll have a guy there in an hour and a half. Right. So it's not, you can go down the rabbit hole and oh my gosh, there's a potential leak or there's this or there's that. We're going to go get the answer and we're not going to be nervous and have fear and be in a world that we don't need to be on this thing. And so that's our job, right?
Yeah.
Is keeping transactions together, allowing if something's an issue, let's figure it out.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I guess the more you're prepared to kind of tread on those waters, the better they're going to feel in the outcome. I mean,
yeah,
it's kind of like it could be chaos, but if you come with that calm head, he's like, I love how you're kind of like, hey, there could be a CO2 leak, but pump the brakes. Let's just get somebody in and verify what that looks like.
that's right. And so, and it's not that the other side is trying to pull a fast one. They're like, well, they were told this could be an issue. Let's go get an answer.
Yeah.
And if there is a leak, let's get it fixed.
Yeah. I mean, even on the other side, if it is a seller, that's the problem that, it's on their side. That's a problem to be able to say, yeah, in fact, you're going to want this, even if this sale doesn't go through, we're probably going to need to fix the CO2 leak for the future. So,
and I think that is where we shine.
Yeah.
Like when that whatever gets presented to a seller, I mean, you talk about what does a luxurious transaction look like that's where we shine, right? It's figuring out, oh, hey, this isn't our first rodeo. We'll do this. We'll go get that answer. I'll have a guy there. I mean, I can't tell you the Rolodex of people that we have, from electricians, septic guys, plumbing guys, pool guys, roof guys, like all of it, getting people the answers that they need as quick as they can.
Yeah. And over time, building that network to easily be like, what, I got a pool guy. I'll have him out tomorrow. I've got this inspector that we can get this done pretty quick. So,
and even let everyone gather around the pool together. Hey, we think there's a potential pool leak. All right, well, let's find out.
yeah.
Got a guy that can test it for leaks, and Mr. Buyer, we'd love to have you, and Mr. Seller will be right there. Let's see what we got. That way there's no separation between me calling an agent and selling what I found, and then they talk to their guy, and he says, well, if I would have, that's where stuff gets mixed up.
Yeah. Is there any time that, like, let's say there's a bigger issue, how do you guide somebody through that? Like, oh my gosh, there is a pool leak. This is going to be a $20,000 fix. How do we guide somebody kind of with that grace, but also calm, cool head? What do we do there?
I mean, it's pretty rare that there really is a repair that's that large.
Sure.
So first off, I just begin by saying, hey, it's real unusual that we don't find a way to make this work. If a buyer didn't present you with a termination document, that means they still want to buy the home.
Yeah.
Right. So we just need to figure out how to navigate these 1, 2, 3 things, that they're looking to have addressed.
Yeah.
And again, it's going back and forth between where are we in the transaction? Did we come off a lot on the list price? Like some of that communication happens with the agent of like, hey, we came off a lot on the price. We don't want to be beat up on repairs, different things like that. But I can't remember what your exact question was, but I think just taking that, those moments in the transaction that I've done now 2,000 times, it like, I can promise you my heart rate doesn't get above 50 beat a minute. Like, I'm, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We're going to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, there's always a solution. It's just like you got to be prepared to bring it to the table. So,
Yeah. And there's, like there's a lot of gray
sure.
in the, like, should the doorbell light bulb be replaced? It's out. Well, I don't know. If it's real important to that buyer, maybe maybe we do need to get that fixed. But for most people, maybe not.
So that said, a lot of these buyers, sellers are kind of navigating all these things with emotions, right? Like, this. And how would you say would be, maybe a better way and one way that you could do it to kind of help facilitate those responses with like data and objectivity and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, first, I think it's healthy to begin with realizing that emotion isn't bad. Like, I'm about integrating, right, emotion with data.
That's one of the three things that you,
Yeah, like either put it, like
excitement.
So I would say that if a buyer just says this is the home and I gotta have it, and I kind of feel like, oh, that price is a little off, then I'm probably gonna meet that emotion with some like, hey, chances are you may want to sell this home a year from now, 5 years from now, 7, 10, whatever. Can I share some things that I've got some concerns with on the evaluation of the home?
Yeah.
Because what I never want to be the guy I bought something and now I can't sell it down the road. So I would do that. On the flip side, you've got someone that really wants a home, but they're all about the data. But this price per foot in this neighborhood has been $200 a foot, and this one's priced at $205. And if I feel like that home is good and it's going to move quickly, then I probably meet their analytical approach with some questions around emotion.
Yeah.
Like, hey, so what, if you don't get this home, is that okay?
Yeah.
And if they say, yeah, then okay. But sometimes they may go, well, no, we've looked for 3 months. This is really the one that we want. Okay, then let's sit real still for a second and think through not getting this home.
Yeah.
And rather than us really trying to nail it into that specific range, I can promise you, if you're playing the long game, that this isn't even going to be a conversation for you.
Yeah.
Now, if you call me in a year from now and say I need to sell this, yeah, that $5 a foot may play a role.
Sure.
But if you call me 7, 10 years, I mean, the decade game is the gift of the real estate gods.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's really hard to make a bad decision playing the decade game.
Yeah.
Not everyone does it, but I can promise you every listing that I take today that they bought before 2015, we get sold very quickly.
Yeah.
Right. Every listing that I take today that they bought a year ago, well, that can be, you never really know.
Hit or miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're coming to the end of the podcast, but I want to get a couple takeaways for some of our listeners. And I think the first one is, what would you say that either a new agent or an agent maybe that's struggling, they can implement, like right now, today, that might kind of elevate their game a bit, make it a little bit more of a luxury transaction with their clients?
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to learn how to own your day.
Yeah.
But I think you have to learn the art of time blocking, the art of keeping the main thing, learning like really what is the driver of your business. And I've been in the business long enough to see that for top producers, everyone has a little bit of a different setting, right? Like, there's agents that just crush it, and they were a teacher for 20 years. They've got this great database of teachers.
Oh, yeah.
Who just know, like, and trust them.
Yeah.
Maybe your thing is, I don't know, sports or something with your kids, and it's been a great driver of your business. However your way of staying in touch with people and in right relationship with them, I think is key. And so for me, I mean, it's just, it needs to happen all before 11 o'clock every single day. It's non-negotiable. It's just what I do.
11 a.m.
11 before 11 a.m. every day. Yeah, about 7:15 to 11. I'm in that mode.
That is I am locked in, and it's funny because I also graduated in 2005.
Okay.
And have been in my business for 20 years as well. So it's kind of cool to see kind of similar mindset there. So we haven't really talked about marketing or anything, but is there any kind of marketing strategy, something that you feel like would amp up maybe that luxury feel for a client or whatnot? Like, is there anything there that you would recommend, people go after?
Yeah,
I mean, you don't have to share all your secrets.
yeah. I mean, photos are great. I mean, oh yeah, you gotta have a great photographer on your team. I mean, I think that's one thing that I've really been grateful for with Sold in the Snap has just been it's a like as a guy that's in go mode, I want to hand things off to other pros and not worry about it.
Yeah.
And so, there's all these different things that you can do to showcase that home from drone footage, your virtual tours, the videos, all that. It really does matter.
Yeah.
But again, I can't say enough about what is the story that home is trying to convey,
Yeah.
and figuring out your way to tell that story. There's a lot of different ways to tell the story, but finding your way that aligns with your brand, with who you are. And so I would say, that to me is one of the biggest things of just turning pro and having products, pieces, marketing links, whether it's online, social, print, direct mail, or whatever, having everything line up.
Yeah.
Line up so that when someone sees who you are in the marketplace, they go, "Oh yeah, I recognize that guy. That guy's got that vibe follows a consistency through everything that he does."
Yeah. And I would say that probably figure that out early on so that you can have that kind of
Yep.
follow you throughout. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's the authenticity is one of the great drivers of your business.
Yeah.
And so I think the marketplace can sense that, right?
Yeah.
I think they want someone who's turned pro. They want a local expert, but they also want someone that's authentic to themselves.
Yeah.
And how they both lead themselves and navigate the transaction. So,
Well, Ashton, thank you so much for being on today. You guys, this is Ashton Gustafson with the AG Real Estate Group, broker and owner. And I want to thank you again, so much. And we're excited. We'll drop all your links and everything in the show notes below. So make sure to check them out. And if you guys need an agent, I'm sure that he'd be happy to set you
8 days a week. Call me. I'll take it.
Thank you again for being out with us.
Thanks so much.
All right. Again, this episode of Spilling the Realty podcast is sponsored by Sold in the Snap. Sold in the Snap is Central Texas' premier real estate photography and marketing company, helping agents look incredible, stand out from the competition, and grow their business. We provide photos, tours, video, and marketing, everything that you need to market yourself and your listings with ease. Want to save time, wow your clients, and dominate your market? Visit soldinthesnap.com and see how Sold in the Snap can elevate your business and your listing today. This week's tip of the week is, of course, about luxury, and it's not about price point. It's all about execution. You don't need $1 million listing to deliver luxury. Clear communication, thoughtful marketing, and attention to detail elevate every property and your brand.
And that's today's pour. Thanks for spilling the real tea with us. Don't forget to follow the podcast so you don't miss the next hot pour of real estate talk. And remember, this is just the tea, not legal, real estate, or financial advice.